I think now we're good. Four, three, two. There we go. How's it going, everybody? This is Stick Talk Podcast. You're here with DR hitting, Ian Jenkins hitting, and we have an especially cool guest today. We have two-time MLB All-Star Shea Hillenbrand. How are you doing today, Shea?
I'm doing amazing, brother. How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Thanks for coming on, Shay. You have a pretty cool career that we'd love to dive into, man. So if you could just start, man, how'd you get into baseball? How'd you fall in love with the sport?
That's a good question. I mean, just like everybody else, right? So I played soccer in soccer season. I played basketball in basketball season, football in football season, and baseball in baseball season. But for some reason, some way, somehow, I don't know if it was influenced by my mom because she grew up in Missouri and beat us with a wooden spoon. So she was a St. Louis Cardinals fan, but I grew up in LA. And I always remember being at the top deck of Dodger Stadium. That's where our seats were. I had season tickets with my mom and my best friend. And from 10, 11, 12 years old, I always said, I'm going to be down there someday. I don't know what y'all are doing. I'm going to be down there someday. And I have the goosebumps right now saying it. I had my chocolate malt in one hand, my nachos in the other hand, and I didn't give a damn about the players, man. My favorite player was Steve Sachs. He couldn't even throw the ball to first base. Like, I didn't care about autographs. I didn't care about any of that stuff, but I just was enamored with baseball. I'd smell the freshly cut grass. I'd get my new glove, and I'd put it over my face and just take a deep breath of the leather. And, man, when you rip those batting gloves out of their wrapper and you put them on, they had a distinct feeling, and I couldn't wait till after Little League to pin a pony, because why? You could start wearing metal spikes. I couldn't wait to hear my spikes in the dugout on the concrete. I'm like, man, I'm closer, man. But the thing was, is like I'd hear the roar of the crowd, I'd feel it, and just a crack of the bat, and just immerse myself. And I'd always imagine Vince Scully, the voice of the Dodgers, announcing my name, now batting number 29, Shea Hillenbrand. And then I'd race home and I'd lay in bed at night. And I just really make that dream become reality with my vision, right? Vision's the number one tool that we have, whether we're training, whether we're competing in the batter's box or on the mound, or if with a dream, right? Like, man, fifth grade, back in Mr. Murphy's class. Like, okay, guys, we're gonna dream big. What do you guys want to do when you grow up? I'm vigorously raising my hand. I'm like, pick me. And he's like, Shay, what do you want to do? I'm like, I'm gonna play Major League Baseball and I'm gonna own a zoo. And all my classmates did exactly that, Ian. But all my classmates did that. They laughed at me.
Exactly that.
But I just took it. I made a pact with myself in fifth grade. I'm gonna do that. I don't know what it was, and I think that's the main ingredient that a lot of our youth players are missing. I worked with some pro guys last week with the team, and I'm in the dugout, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, do you want to go to the big leagues? Like, where is it? Hold tight with that dream. So I played Major League Baseball. I left in my prime. I left $80 million on the table, and I bought a zoo. I had 300 farm and exotic animals. I had camels, kangaroos, llamas, alpacas. I had everything, man. So I did it. I was that crazy guy in fifth grade that lived both his childhood dreams. And I think a lot of us miss the boat on this now because, yes, there's a lot of information. Yes, there's a lot of tools out there. Yes, there's a lot of data and metrics and all these things that we could do to measure. But where's the dream? Because at some point in time, somebody's going to be as good as you, if not better. And that's usually happens when we go to pro ball. What are you going to do then? Because when you get there, nobody cares about you. You have to look out for your own back. So if you don't cling tight to that dream and understand and keep that love, because the game demands reciprocity because there's so much failure, and if you don't go out there and commit and sacrifice and then compete, you're not going to make it.
So
I saw so many players.
What do you think the disconnect is then at like the youth level? Because you got to imagine it kind of starts there where, when you talk about the dream, the love of the game, everything along those lines, what do you think the disconnect is now versus then maybe like when you were a child?
Social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything that we all deal with, right? This is how this is our business, right? We make our business through social media. So So many of us that are successful understand how to use this as a tool, but a lot of us use this as a toy.
Oh, 100%.
So since social media happens, it's delayed cognitive thinking for teenagers by 2 years. So if I have a 16-year-old athlete that's legit, his cognitive thinking is 2 years delayed just by this. So if we don't control this, which a lot of parents don't do because they're trying to escape with this as well, because life sucks, life is challenging, and this is an easy escape right here. So if we're on social media, what is it? It's training ourselves to go from one thing to the next, 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 so we don't inherently train ourselves to focus on one thing. So last time I checked, when I'm in the batter's box, I got to focus. When I'm on that mound, I got to focus. When I'm playing third base in the All-Star game, man, bro, the pressure's like insanity. I have to focus and be present for 200 plus pitches, there. So cognitive thinking is being able to do what we're doing right now. Pay attention, receive information, process it, keep and delete what we need to do, and apply what we're just the information. That's 2 years delayed. So if we understand that, and then we're throwing data, if we're throwing the Rapsodo exit velo, if we're talking about, we got to get connected or on plane or launch quickness or whatever that might be, with all this data that we have available, we need to understand that the players that we're giving that to, they have no clue what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So if they don't understand what we're talking about, guys, what happens is it causes confusion in our mind. We get confused. And then the byproduct of that 100% of the time is no self-confidence. So now we got kids trying to find their swing, some kids off the tee because they're taking a tee out. Now we got kids trying to find or I say kids, even the big leaguers, because I'm 48. We have players that are trying to find their swing off front toss, find their swing off somebody throwing in the cage, trying to find their swing off the breaking ball machine, trying to find their swing on the field before BP. And then me as a coach or a leader or a mentor expect this son of a gun to go to the plate during the game. You better go compete. You better have self-confidence. How is that possible? It's completely impossible. So now these kids, they don't want to let you know that they don't have self-confidence because they have a lot of information right here, but they truly don't know how to receive it, retain it, process it, and apply it. So now that is the biggest disconnect. That's the biggest disconnect in society. Broken focus is the number one reason for failure. But when I'm in spring training, big league spring training as a minor leaguer, man, I go into the shower after the workout, and Pedro Martinez walks in. And I'm like, holy cow. At that time, he was the best pitcher in the game. Yeah. And the only reason I'm telling you this story, guys, is because there's two really good principles that I want your listeners to understand this. Because this is where we're kind of missing the boat. Some guys will make it, but most won't. And he said, hey, who are you? I said, my name is Shay. He's like, I was watching you. I was watching you when I was walking off the field in spring training. You were taking batting practice. He said, when they threw the ball inside, you hit it to left field because I'm right-handed. When you threw the ball down the middle, you hit it to center field. And when you threw the ball away, you hit it to right field. I'm like, isn't that what you're supposed to do? He's like, yeah, but you don't understand. If you watch the rest of the hitters that you hit with, they were trying to prove to the coaching staff, trying to prove to the big leaguers, trying to prove to the people that make the decision, I could do it. And they came off their game plan, and they didn't focus on the small things that they need to master is what gets you to the next level. This doesn't take rocket science. He says, Shay, if you do that, you have the whole plate covered. And me, as a pitcher, I can't throw my number one pitch at you. I have to go to my second best pitch, and now you have the advantage. I was like, wow, I never thought about that. But it's true. If you just do the small things and know how you do it, you'll give yourself the best chance for your ability to come out when somebody's watching. And that's the key. When we go to these showcases, when we go to these recruiting, when recruiters and scouts show up, we got to have our best come out because we might have one shot. And he says, Shay, you got to learn from everybody around you. I'm sitting there in the shower with Pedro Martinez, the most intimate setting you could have, naked with some other guy. And he's teaching me and he's talking to me and he's sharing these freaking like $1 million secrets to me. And they're simple, but this is what it takes. He says, see, what's crazy is you'll just watch I say hitting gurus, and I say that I don't know what other the hitting coaches
right.
on social media, because I don't want to judge nobody. I don't want to say I'm better because I'm not. I just might have a little bit more information because I was exposed to the best and I did it with experience. So you'll see a lot of the hitting guys on social media, Instagram, they'll post all the guys that are doing, oh, look at Tatis, what he's doing here. Look at Shohei, what he's doing here. Like, I can't do what Shohei does. Yeah. And I was one of the best in the world. Look what Pujols is doing. But Pedro says, yeah, see what guys are doing good, but watch guys that aren't doing good and observe why they're not doing good. If you see that, oh, this guy's not really putting the work in. When he's working, he's screwing around. He's not really paying attention. Oh, this guy went out tonight and he's getting drunk, or he's focused on the girls, or he's just hanging out. He's not really taking advantage of opportunities, and see the things that they're doing and why they're not doing good. But what Pedro told me next changed the whole trajectory of my career, and this is what I want to share with you guys. He said, Shay, the secret to get to the big leagues is it's not how much you know. It's how quickly you learn it is what gets you there. And he turned off the shower and he walked out. And I'm like, what the flip does that mean, man? I'm a minor league guy. I've already been player of the year 3 times. I'm on a hot track to the big leagues. And what that means is we have all the info right here. We could debate hitting. It's like religion or politics. Oh, my way is better than yours, or you're doing this, just like I told you before, Ian, on that video that you put when you struck out. All you were doing was it just came here too quick. And when I come here too quick, I use my muscles get tense. And then when my muscles get tense, I can't just put it together. I can't react to the pitch, because hitting a baseball is a reaction. And when my muscles are already firing, just because I'm a little bit nervous or not focused on the right thing, I'm tense here. I can't put it together. I lose a millisecond and the ball just comes by me. But the byproduct is, oh, I suck. Oh, why did I miss that? Right? So it's not how much information. Yeah, it's not how much information. I got all the information here. I could write a freaking an encyclopedia on hitting with all the stuff that everybody posts. That means zero. It's how quickly you learn it. What is my swing? How do you know what to work on in your swing if you don't know your swing? Mm-hmm. All of our swings are breaking down. All of our mechanics are breaking down for 2 reasons: timing and tension. That's it. So if I'm in the cage working and a guy's swing is off because he's not focused on the right thing, doesn't understand the focus sequence of I got to have my load achieved by the time I read it, and when I read it, I'm just gaining intel and I'm just hitting it where I read it, my swings and mechanics will break down. I might lunge. I might get around the ball. I'm not staying inside the ball. I'm not getting connected. I'm not getting whatever the hell this crap does that we do. I'm not getting my front side locked out. I'm not going back. All this terminology bull crap that everybody says, that will not work if I don't give myself enough time to get to the ball when I train. So a coach will see that. And with the untrained eye, which is all right because we all don't have the expertise, and I understand that because hitting's difficult, they'll see a mechanic breakdown and they'll try to fix that mechanic. But that mechanic breakdown in the cage, off front toss or whatever, that's not the kid's swing. His swing's not there because if he did his normal swing, he doesn't have time to do it because he doesn't understand the process or the sequence of the swing. So now we're working on a swing that's not the player's swing. And how does a player feel about that? He has zero self-confidence. No. He has zero understanding, but he's not going to tell you because he doesn't have a voice. Mm-hmm. He's so used to getting scared. I got to do this and do this and do this and do this. And mom and dad are paying this much money and I got this and got this. And they're like, dude, I'd rather just go chill here. Just like the shortstop for the freaking Devil Rays messaging an underage chick. Boom. Now his career's done. That I'm telling you, we do that. That's a byproduct of the pressure and not understanding our swing. So it's not how much you know, it's how quickly we learn it is what gets you there. And I found it out pretty quickly because I went from AA to the big leagues, first guy for the Red Sox in 30 years. And then my second year in the big leagues, I was an all-star. I turned on the TV in June. I'm like, holy crap, I'm leading the all-star ballot. 5 years before, guys, I walked on at a junior college.
Oh, I love that.
That was my only option.
Fire me up. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I've gotten from you so far is, if I'm putting it in how I internalize it, is two things. The power on the mind is king. And number two, your ability to make adjustments will dictate how fast and how well you perform at the next level.
You can't make an adjustment if you don't know your swing, bro. You can't make an adjustment if you don't know your swing.
What are you going to make adjustments off of? Right.
Well, you're going to look on the third base box. You're going to look at the dugout for the coach, or you're going to look in the stands for your dad because you don't know how to make it. That's just a byproduct because we don't know. I'm not trying to knock anybody. That's the truth.
Yep.
But it's like, man, when we're in the big leagues, dude, it's my numbers on the back of a bubblegum card, man. It's my number. Those are my numbers, not yours, not the coach's, not the third base coach, not the hitting coach. Them are my damn numbers.
Yeah.
So I must know what I need to do that. So now that you talk about adjustment, in high school, they try to make an adjustment in between a tournament, which is 4 to 5 games. Okay? In college, we try to make an adjustment in between games, which is 4 to 5 at-bats. In the minor leagues, we try to make adjustments in between at-bats, which is 4 to 5 pitches. Bro, if I don't make an adjustment in between pitches in the show, I'm done. I'm out. See ya. So how do you do that? Well, I have to have a focus formula. When I train off the tee, I focus on 4 things. Y'all get in a cage and you focus on setting the ball up in the middle and hitting a line drive to the back of the net. I don't do that. I focus on direction, ball, achieve my load, feel. Direction, ball, achieve my load, feel. Direction, ball, achieve my load, feel. A 4-step process. And now I'm ingraining that feel into my nervous system, my file cabinet. Now I got that swing down. I'm not just aimlessly taking a swing, hitting it to the back of the net because I'm focusing on mechanics. Not one point in time in that did I say mechanics. Your mechanics will iron themselves out if you allow yourself time to get there and where you place your focus. So when I get in the game, I have a 3-step focus formula, which is super simple. When do I start? At what point in time in the pitcher's windup am I going to start my swing? Because my loading mechanism needs to be achieved by the time I read that pitch. And then my second thing I'm focusing on is reading the pitch. So instantly, usually when you start your swing as the ball comes out, this is what everybody just skims over, and this is the most important part of training a hitter to hit. Because if our timing's on time and we do it freely, now the player's natural swing will come out. That's the swing we're working on. But if our timing's off, if we're tense, if we're rushing, if we're trying to do all this mechanical robotic stuff, then that's not our swing. We're trying to create a swing out of nothing. And inherently inside, a player will always fight himself because he knows that's not my swing, that's not my swing, that's not my swing, that's not my swing. He won't say it, but that's the internal battle that he's going to have. And he will never have self-confidence with a pretty 5 o'clock swing or a batting practice swing. So
how many pretty swings have you seen in your day that didn't pan out in the game?
What's that, buddy?
How many pretty swings have you seen in your day that didn't pan out in the game because they didn't have this?
There's way better talent in AAA than the big leagues.
Yeah.
I've gone down to rehab a couple times, and I'm there, and I'm like, wow, what the living heck are you doing here? Insanity. These guys are, they're insane. And I started thinking, I was like, oh, I figured it out. When the lights go on, popcorn and 40,000 in the stands at ESPN, y'all can't play because you can't handle the pressure. So check this out. When the pressure rises, it will. Oh, yeah. We will revert back to our rituals, habits, and routines. It's all in your training. How are you training? With intentionality, with a focus formula. I have to have intention with every swing that I take. That's it. That's the separator. Intentionality and attention to details. Yes. That's it. If that's it, and if we understand broken focus is the number one reason for failure for baseball players, especially hitters, and cognitive thinking is 2 years behind for these players, it's just how it is. We have to have empathy and understanding for who we are leading, and that's who we're leading. In the next 5 years, we're going to have the most mentally and emotionally ill-equipped major leaguers to play Major League Baseball.
Oh,
that's
man,
because
I'm seeing it
of
right
social
now.
media.
Yeah.
That's because of social media and cognitive thinking. So we need to break it down to third grade level understanding.
Yeah.
Right? Dude, when do you start, read the pitch, and react? That's it. So I'm in charge of gaining intel. I know when I read that pitch, my eyes are going to transmit the information to my brain, and my brain's going to process it in milliseconds. And what does it do? It says launch. I have to read the pitch. So I have to be in a position to read the pitch, because if you see a big leaguer that's really good, I think of Tatis Jr. right now, or Guerrero Jr., or Bichette, whatever. After you load, there's a point in time right there. There's a little bit of a pause, and that's when we're reading the pitch. But dudes at the younger level, or dudes that can't put it together, they're loading and reading at the same time, because they're loading too late, and they're reading at the time, and they're reading it, and then they go. So if you're not in a position to go, you won't stay inside the ball. You won't stay connected. You won't have launch quickness. You won't have exit velo. You won't have lockout. You won't have anything that everybody's trying to teach the players how to hit it. So if you understand the focus sequence and the sequence of the swing, then we give ourselves a chance of a baseline to work with the players. Because let me tell you what, hitting is mindset and movement. And on the inside of that is balance and sequence. That's it. Zero mechanics. If you understand that, mindset first. What's mindset? What's my intentionality when I'm walking to home plate? Am I in an empowered state, or am I in a defeated state like AAA players that get their chance to go to the big leagues? I'm walking the plate, I'm going to crush, because I know what to focus on and I've done the training, right? And then from there, it's intentional. It's the state of mind that I'm in. Am I in an empowering state, or am I in a defeated state? And then the second thing is self-confidence. I have to have self-confidence at the plate. When I go into a slump, the only reason I'm in a slump is because I don't have self-confidence. That's the number one thing that lacks. Everybody goes into a slump, but good hitters shorten their slump. The way you have self-confidence demands evidence. You could talk all you want. You could bat flip all you want. You could put the eye black all you want. You could sit on second base. You could talk all the shit you want in the dugout. Everything. No. Do that. You ain't going to the top. Self-confidence demands evidence. And the last thing is what am I focused on? So that's the mindset aspect of hitting. What am I focused on? Okay, outside the batter's box, I'm focusing on my approach. What am I getting here? What am I looking for? What's the pitch? Because I have one pitch in that bat in the big leagues to do anything with. What am I doing? When I step in the batter's box, I'm getting set. I'm relaxed. I'm getting a little bit of rhythm and movement to get timing with the pitcher. Then I'm focused on when do I start, read the pitch, and react. It's so flipping simple. I can get a bum off the street to do it. But we overcomplicate it because we don't understand what it truly takes to allow myself for my swing to come out. And then the last aspect, the next aspect is movement. I have to let my body move. When I load, I have to let it move. I can't stay restricted. I can't stay stuck here. I can't, stay back. Well, you stay back during your load, and if I give myself time to load, I'm not going to go forward. Guys lunge forward in their swing because they're late, not because they're early. They lunge forward out front because they're trying to swing before they get their foot down because they don't have time, right? So I got to let my body move. And inside that, I got to be balanced. And that's what I learned from Barry Bonds' trainer. You have to be balanced in your stance and throughout the movement. That's why we work out in the gym. I have to strengthen my stabilization muscles. I have to make sure I'm in my legs, my core. Like this video that you put the other day, Ian, was fantastic. I have to be balanced. If I'm over my backside and I'm flat-footed on my backside, on my back foot, or my weight's on the outside of my back foot, that's not balanced. How do I know? I went to Willie Mays in the clubhouse. And Willie says, all you have to do is look at your feet, Shay. The weight has to stay between your feet. Simple. Okay. If you're flat-footed, overloaded on your backside, you have to shift your weight to the inside ball of your foot before you launch. That is a wasted movement. You can get away with that in the cage at the lower level, but as you go higher, you're not going to hit. And guys try to do that and they can't. So you just got to be balanced, understand balance. And then the last thing of hitting is sequence. What is the sequence? I have to know when I need to start, read the pitch. I have to have my loading mechanism achieved. The most important part of your swing needs to be achieved before I read the pitch, and then I react. I don't think about getting my foot down, slam my heel. I don't think about locking out my front side. I don't think about saying, man, Jamie Moyer got me 1-2 on a changeup, and I'm like, I am going to crush this meat stick because he's 43 years old, and I hate the guy. That's what I'm thinking in the batter's box. I'm not thinking exit velo. I'm not thinking home run. I know he's throwing me a changeup 1-2, and he throws me a changeup. If I miss the ball, it would have bounced before it hit the catcher's glove. But I have it on video. I hit it. My direction was up the middle. And I hit it off the back wall at Safeco. How the hell do you hit that? I don't know. I let my body move. I read it and knew I had to get in this position to launch it and stay through it with my initial direction. Stuff will happen. I had a 2-strike count with John Smoltz. And he threw me a 93-mile-an-hour slider down and away off the plate. And I just knew if I have a slider down and away, if I read that, I can't try to jack it. I can't try to do it. That's a pitcher's pitch. I just have my initial direction towards right center field. That's why when I train in the cage, it's so important to have intentionality. Where's that pitch? Goes there. Where's this pitch? Goes there. Where's it? Oh, there. This pitch goes here. It's not just swinging. It's not exit velo. It's not all this crap like drive line. That's fine tuning, but you don't know your swing. So I read the pitch, a slider at 93 miles an hour with depth down and away, and I hit a missile over the shortstop's head to left center field. I'm running to first base, and he says, how in the flip did you hit that pitch? But he didn't say flip. He said the F word, screaming at me. And I'm like, I don't know. I just read it and hit it. That's natural ability of reading a pitch and letting your body move. Mm-hmm. I'll take a break, so if you have any questions. I'm telling you guys, I love this so much, and I want to be the voice for the players that is just like,
So, Shay, so obviously, like you said, your story with starting out, at a walk-on in JUCO. What do you think a big part of it was kind of figuring out this mental side that you are preaching right now? Or like what was it that made that difference from that player then to the then 2-time MLB All-Star?
Just refining. That's the only difference. Refining your skill sets. Refining, not finding. Not continually trying to find and search and tweak and bop. That's where guys get in trouble. My swing didn't change from high school to a 2-time All-Star in the big leagues. It was the same swing. Did I make adjustments? Did I fine-tune it? Did I take this Ferrari and put a better exhaust on it and put better brakes and more accelerate? Yeah. But I didn't change the Ferrari to a Bentley to a Lamborghini. That was it. So what's happening is dudes are trying to take a Ferrari and they're trying to put Hyundai parts on it. They're trying to put all these aftermarket parts for a Hyundai on this Ferrari because we have the trick to get launch quickness. We have the trick to get this and that. It means nothing. So where it stemmed from was I was the first guy there and I was the last guy to leave every day because when you get to college, it's a choice. It's a choice to go to the next level. High school, I got to graduate high school if we have any sense in our head. I got to get a diploma, but college is an option. See, when you're in high school, you try to have dedication. High school is about dedication, right? Dedicate. To make the high school team, I got to dedicate myself. I got to go to 6 a.m. workouts. I got to run the mile. I got to go to the gym. I got to start working. But from high school to college, it's separation. What am I going to do to separate myself from the pack to give myself a chance? Separation is understanding to put the work in to get yourself to execute the results. I have to execute. But from college to pro ball is concentration. You go from dedication, separation to concentration. So once you get to pro ball, you got to understand how to work this. In the minor leagues, I got kicked out of 5 games a year. I got pulled out of 10 games a year from the manager. I've told umpires to F off. I told managers to go to hell. I'd hit a line drive to second base, and I wouldn't run to first base. I should have hit it a line drive off the right center field wall. I'd be so emotional and so passionate like you see right now, and I just let that overtake me, and the manager just literally, in the minor leagues, take me out of the game. And I'd be pissed. Dugout. You wish you had 25 guys in a team like me. You don't understand, man. I will run for the wall. He's like, dude, shut up and go in there and run to first base. I was like, what do you mean run to first base, man? I can't because you took me out of the game, you fool. Put me in a game, I'll run to first base. So it's like understanding how to control that emotion, understanding how to bring the best out, understanding how to compete and not let these things be a distraction. Now parents are a distraction because it's a financial investment. Coaches are a distraction because they're yelling at you all the time, trying to micromanage because they can't control their life at home. They're watching porn. They're doing promiscuous stuff with. I wouldn't even go there, but it's the truth. And then the coaches come to the ballpark and they're just like, I have an authoritative figure, so you better do what I tell you to do, because if you don't, then you're out of here, man. So players are jumping from team to team to team, and now it's like scouts and perfect game and all these things, and the players don't even know what to do. So it's like, what do we do? Direction, ball, achieve your load, feel. When do I start? Read the pitch, react. You will get consistent training with intentionality, and you can take, I say this with love, mechanics, and shove it up your rear, because it has zero to do with that. When I'm in the batter's box in the big leagues, 80% of my success is psychology, 20% is mechanics. Why are we always teaching mechanics? Why? Because if you focus on the right thing, if you understand how to do your swing freely and how long it takes me to get to the contact point, your mechanics will iron out. And how a kid doesn't hit 500 in high school or college is beyond me. Oh, it's because we're talking about all this data and mechanics.
Everything we're talking about, a bunch of result-based things, things that we think we can control that we actually can't, because the exit velo is taken care of by what? By being on time, because if you don't get the barrel there, the exit velo is not going to be there. Where all this information these days are just telling us things that we already knew. Back when you started playing baseball, you knew when you smoked the ball. You didn't know it was 110 miles an hour. You knew that was a barrel, right? So I think that with all this information and all this flashy stuff, like you said, it's a distraction from what's important, and the intentionality leaves. And then when you don't have the proper training, what are you going to revert back to? Because like you said, in pressure situations, when you don't know anything, you revert back to what you know. And if you don't know what you're trained on, then you're going to suck. Like, you're literally wasting your time training for these things. It's pointless. You're literally taking up your parents' time. You're wasting life by doing these things. So instead, focus on these few things that you can always control. Build that process. Like I tell my players all the time, sell out to the process. Sell out to the process. I don't care about how hard you hit the ball. I don't care about the launch angle. I care that your intention to do the process is at your utmost potential. Because if you can do that, I can work with that. But if we're worried about all this other stuff, dude, like, it doesn't matter, bro. It doesn't matter. And the last thing I'll say, because I got to go here pretty soon, is I love that you keep it so simple. And I think that's part of the extravagance in the process, because like, in order to keep it, in order to make it repeatable, it has to be simple, right? And the more simple it is, the more repeatable it is. And we could just keep doing that over and over and over again. That's when you become great. I heard somebody say, the best in the world don't do anything extraordinary. They just do they do the ordinary extra, right?
Every day. Every day, bro. Every day.
And it's just the beautiful things that hearing you say that, because Drew and I have been saying these kinds of things for a while, but hearing you say it and hearing your take on it from somebody who's been there is completely different, especially with the passion behind it. Like, I feel you, dude. I feel you. I know where you're coming from. Like, I'm fired up in here talking to you.
And the only reason I have a passion, bro, is because I want kids to get self-confidence. I can care less about ego. I can care less if a kid ever swings a bat again. I can care less about trying to prove to people, oh, I know more than you, like some former big leaguers try to do. I just want to be that voice and help bridge the gap for dudes to understand that, dude, this is what players want to do. This is their out. This is their love. They love it, but there's so much failure with baseball. Like, how am I, like, I'm going to fail. Like, I hit 310 for the D-backs, and I had 580 plate appearances that year. I played every day. If you 580, 310, if you do the math, I failed 400 times in front of the world. Tell me I suck and my mom's a whore and I'm a piece of crap and you suck. Like, how are you going to deal with that? You know what I mean? So it's just like, just to have the focus to have success, let alone keep yourself in the game to give yourself a chance to succeed, you have to keep it simple. But this is the kicker right here. I realized this last year. Simple doesn't sell.
No.
Complexity sells. Yeah. If we have all these bells and whistles and data, which the data is good, Don't. I want you guys to think that all of these data and he's old school. No, I ain't old school. I'm screw your mama school. I'm like, dude, I'm going to go hit school. I'm going to go out there and we're going to crush school. We're going to get confidence and leverage this platform because you have to have reciprocity. You have to give to it and give and give and give and give. Not how you give, but you have to give. And if you give and take delight in the discipline it takes to show up every single day, and not the results in the cage, but the discipline it takes to keep at it with the process that you're saying, Ian, at some point in time, somebody's going to come along and put their arm around you and say, dude, I will show you the way if that's the way it's supposed to be. But so many guys aren't ready for that opportunity, so we lose opportunities, whether it's in front of a PG tournament or a scout or a recruiter or whatever. Dude, bring them out. Come watch me, fool. I'm going to tell you suck. I'm going to tell you you're an idiot, and I'm still going to crush because I did the process. I'm the least confident guy in the world. Like I would crush home runs in Yankee Stadium. I'd be on ESPN, 40,000 fans when I was with the Red Sox, 7th inning. I remember hitting a go-ahead home run off Mike Mussina in Yankee Stadium, a 3-run home run. I'm rounding the bases, 44,000 fans. The energy just went silent. And I'm like, yes. It doesn't matter Yankee Stadium. It doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter wherever you are. It's in the process. And then I'd round the bases, and I scored, and touched home plate, and went back to the dugout. And I hear a fan over the dugout saying, Hillenbrand, I still taste your mom's from last night. And I'm like, okay, cool, dude. Put me up there again because I'm going to crush. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. If I focus with intention on the process that it takes, I'm going to crush it. I had the 3rd highest active batting average in Yankee Stadium out of any major leaguer. It was Paul Konerko, Ichiro Suzuki, Shea Hillenbrand.
Yeah.
How? I didn't have the talent. I didn't have the ability. I knew how to take care of this. I knew how to compete and go out there night in and night out and force them to make a decision, to force them when they're writing that lineup card to put me in the lineup. But check this. I go out to a restaurant after the game in New York, 5-star restaurant. I drop $4,000 on the dinner with my boys. I'd be watching myself on ESPN. And I'd almost pee my pants every single time because I had no self-confidence to get up from the dinner plate, supper plate, and walk across the restaurant to use the restroom in fear of everybody staring at me. So when I tell you guys I get it, I understand it. And I understand it to the T, and this is the separator right here. Yes, once we understand our swing. Yes, once we understand the sequence of what to focus on when we train and when we compete. Yes, now we can start fine-tuning and maybe adjusting the swing, but we got to find our swing first. This is why all the Asian players do a ton of dry swings, because they're finding their swing and how long it takes to get to the contact point. Every hitter is different.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, that was awesome. Unfortunately, I got to go here. I got to go train some kids and make them sell out to some processes. So last question, and hopefully we don't go too long on this, but knowing what you know now, if you could go back to your high school days, what would you change?
Very good question. And I'd always say to everybody before, because I've done hundreds, if not thousands of podcasts, I'd always say I wouldn't say one word to Shea Hillenbrand at that age because I wouldn't waste my time because he wouldn't listen.
That's the best answer.
But now, yeah, but because you have to you have to know your swing, you have to know how you do it, you have to sell up to your process. Everybody's different. But now, 100% equivocally, I would tell myself to work on Shea Hillenbrand, the person. There's 2 people. There's the performer and there's the person. Whenever I went to the clubhouse, the stadium every single night playing Major League Baseball, fielding coach, hitting coach, videographer, everything, every resource in the moon, under the moon, to work on you as the performer. That's all they have now. But when I left the stadium each and every night, I had no one to help me work on Shea Hillenbrand, the person. I was slated to be a $100 million baseball player. I made $20 million. Why didn't I make $100 million? It's because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know as a person. And I was always told, if you just go there, everything will be great. You will achieve what you're trying to achieve. But if you understand who you are, if you understand what makes you tick, what makes you ticked off, what drives you, what sets you back, do I need to be pushed? Do I need to be chilled? Do I need to be patted on the back? Do I need to be left alone? If you understand that and work on you and develop you as a person, from the inside out, that's why I have a shirt, Conquer Within, then you will be the very best you can be. So many guys don't achieve that because they don't work on themselves as a person. So I would work on Shea Hillenbrand the person way more than Shea Hillenbrand the player, because I would have been way better
as a player.
I
Wow.
love that.
Wow.
Hey, thanks
Wow.
thanks again so much, Shay, for popping on, man. I mean, the intellect you have, and just how simple, like Jenk was saying, how simple you think, but the intensity that you have to have behind it and intentionality you have to have behind it. I think it's just a really cool process that you have. So
it's
thank you
huge.
so
The
much.
higher you go, guys, the higher you go, you have to keep it simple. That's the way the guys want it. I work with guys at the top, and it's like, you have to keep it simple. The game is too fast. We have to slow the game down. The game is too hard. You have to slow it down. You have to keep it simple. When you do that with your focus, your ability will come out more consistently. Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
I appreciate your time, guys.
Oh, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
man. Seriously. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks everyone for listening. Again, this is StickTalk Podcast. Have a good rest of your day, you guys.